Coming up, Citywalk is now open at Universal Orlando Resort in limited capacity, and we're going to talk about that. Plus, we have a special guest, Vincent from Vincent Vision, joining us to tell us about the experience of being at Citywalk on the day that it reopened. So we have all that fun, plus so much more. From our houses in and around Orlando, Florida, this is the Universal edition of the Diz Unplugged. This is episode 259 of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. The Diz Unplugged Universal Edition is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Universal vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. I'm your host, Craig Williams, and I am joined alongside by my co-host today, Ryno.
Hello.
Hey, Ryno. Welcome. Thanks for being here. How brave?
Thanks for having me. Well, look. Yeah, I am brave. Do you see my shirt? How brave.
Oh, that's why I said it. I wasn't.
That's funny.
I wasn't going to say it, and then when I saw your shirt, we've been on Skype now for over an hour, and I was like, oh, his shirt says brave. I'm going to say it. But far out, yeah, we have a very big episode for you today. Just our first really news-heavy episode in a while because, well, it's we've been doing these fun little filler episodes for you here while nothing's opening up and such, and now we're finally having some progress and updates that we can actually alert you on. So we're going to do that. And like I mentioned, we are joined for just in a little bit. We have joining us in just a little bit our special guest, Vincent from Vincent Vision. I've talked about him on the show before, and he went on the first day of Citywalk Reopening, so he's going to tell us what it was like for him to go there and be there and all the safety measures and protocols and such. So it's something you're definitely going to want to keep watching so you can get to it and get that information. And so we will get to that just a little bit, but we are going to talk about Citywalk Reopening first because not everyone might have that information. So I did release a standalone video at youtube.com/DizUnplugged that talked about Citywalk reopening when they did reopen on May 14th with all the information on details like that. But I know that not everyone just watches the show. Some people do listen. And since all of that news came out, there have been updates even further beyond that. So we're going to talk all about that here. So as I just mentioned, Citywalk is now reopened in a limited capacity. It did open up on May 14th. That was a Thursday for anyone out there watching this years down the line for some reason. And right now, the big part of Citywalk is how long is it open, when's it open, and such. And it is open from 4 o'clock p.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. And when I keep saying limited operations, that means only select venues are open right now. So instead of being like Disney, where with Disney Springs, they were planning on opening up first only the third-party participants in it, Universal kind of opened up with a little bit of a mix of everything. So, Ryno, do you have the list of food and shops and such that opened up, or do I need to do that?
I do not have that list of food and shops. I have an outdated one, so it's fine. But
well, what do you want to tell us? What opened up when it first opened up?
Well, we know that the Red Brick Oven Pizza was open. We know that I said that wrong, didn't I?
You always will say it. Red Oven Pizza Bakery.
There's no brick?
No, there's no bricks. It's just a giant red oven.
Oh, okay. Well, we had Voodoo Donuts, Margaritaville, Margaritaville essentially Lone Palm, right?
Lone Palm and the outdoor seating at Margaritaville.
Right, yeah. And that was really it in the first phase, wasn't it? Was NBC open on the patio?
No, the other ones that were open, the Annie Ann's pretzel stand that was right across from NBC Sports Grill and Brew, that was open. And then another one that was open for inside seating, not exterior, which is why I don't think a lot of people were talking about it. But Bubba Gump Shrimp Company was, in fact, open as well, too. So with that first round, you could do mobile ordering for Red Oven Pizza Bakery as well as Voodoo Donut. And it got very, very busy. Everything got very busy that was open for the most part. And with that, too, if you were able to book reservations for the restaurants ahead of time, then you could at least try to minimize that. But just from seeing all the posts online, Margaritaville shot up very quickly to a 2.5 hour wait, which makes sense. It's people are excited to get back and they want to be back in that setting, so they're going to wait for it.
Well, and the most social setting there is having a drink on a patio somewhere with somebody. So, it's where you go first, right?
But as soon as they announced Margaritaville was one of them, I was like, do I need a giant plate of nachos?
I know. And it's like, it's kind of the stuff that was even mediocre before. You're just like, I just want something that's not something I'm making at my own house. Yeah. I don't know, but they had some retail shops as well, didn't they not?
They did, yeah. Do you have that, or do I need to?
I believe it was the Universal Studios store and the Hart and Huntington Tattoo Company had their not tattooing parlor open, but you could buy some shirts or merch in there. Right?
Yeah, and they were taking reservations for tattoos in late June, but they currently only retail.
I'm sure tattooing will be happening before that, but at this rate. But and then was the golf one of the golf area open as well, I heard?
Yeah, the Hollywood Drive-In Golf was open, only the haunted side, not the alien side. And then the other location open as of the opening was the airbrush stand that is kind of like right across from Margaritaville. Oh. So in case you need a Hanes t-shirt airbrushed for some reason, then that was available to you. So my wife's birthday is literally the day that this is we're recording, not the day we're recording this, the day this is released. It is my wife's birthday, and I know that's the only thing that she asked for this year was an airbrush shirt from CityWalk. So unfortunately I didn't make it out for it, but I did say that I will get to CityWalk here very soon, probably within the next week or two, because the one thing that I haven't had during this entire stay-at-home period, I haven't had any fresh pizza. I've only had frozen pizza.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm particular about where I get pizza from anyway. So I said, it says the guy who buys frozen pizza, but all that aside,
Tombstone. He's eating Tombstone in his house.
California Pizza Kitchen or nothing for me. I don't
I
want
like Freschetta. Freschetta. That's how you say it.
Freschetta is better.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. You pay a couple extra bucks, but it's good.
There are some decent ones, but I said I've always loved the pizza from Red Oven Pizza Bakery, and I've always thought that it was pretty excellent. So I said that I would be willing to go to CityWalk and get us a pizza to go and get us some Voodoo Donuts, and listen, that would be when I go.
There's nothing better than a brick oven pizza. And you won't find it at the Red Oven Pizza Bakery. But
I was going to say, I was pausing to hope that you were going to have a button in there, because I'm like, if I have to explain this to you again. I mean, technically there is, they use the wood, so you get that kind of char, bricky style material with it. But it's, you know what?
Maybe, we talked about donuts too, like you said on one of the shows. Was it this show or was it one of the other shows? I don't know.
It was this one in our park picks.
Okay, and the thing that could pull me out now, you said the pizza and the donuts. I saw a photo of somebody's donut pics, and I was like, man, I want that. Whatever that one that was the big peanut butter, is it ODP? It was the big peanut butter one that was like a fritter, basically. And I'm just like, Oh my God. I mean, if we're throwing our cares to the wind, I might as well eat a donut while I'm doing it. Am I right?
Exactly. Ryno, I'm not even going to lie. There might be bricks helping to build that oven at the
you're
Red
now-
Oven Pizza Bakery. I just realized, even though it is big and it's a big red oven, they do have to use something as a foundation. It can't just be like, this is big red plastic. So maybe it is
That's
made
what I
of
was
brick.
thinking. Yeah, it's the porcelain pizza company. It's just a giant Dutch oven that you're putting the pizza in. It's fine.
I'm not one to judge how they make their oven. Maybe there is brick. Maybe I've never noticed the brick because I'm too enamored by the red. But I feel like I was being way too dismissive of you and in the bricks. So I apologize for that. I hope it is made of bricks now, so I can finally stick my foot in my mouth. But the exciting news is we are recording this on Friday, May 15th, and I thought that this was going to stick in place. All those venues that we just talked about, I thought that's what was going to stick in place for probably a week, maybe a little bit longer, and watch how those were happening. But then just in the middle of the day here, kind of close to right before CityWalk was reopening for the day, they did announce that there'd be a couple extra editions opening up. So Cinnabon is going to be opened. Is currently, I mean, as of the time we're recording this, it's already open, and of the time of the release, it would still be open unless they decided to not open it past Friday. But Cinnabon up with mobile ordering available, and also Cold Stone Creamery. No mobile ordering there, but Cold Stone Creamery is available. Yeah, you got to watch them mix up your ice cream in front of you and such. And then Tusum Chocolate Emporium and Savory Feast Kitchen, the dessert and candy areas are open, not the actual restaurant yet. So, yeah, no brunch, no big burger meatloaf thing.
No chocolate Manhattan.
No, but you'll be able to get some desserts, your milkshakes and such, and get your retail candies and such. So part of it is open. So it's a nice step forward to the next step. So and that's just what's as of Friday. Who knows? I'm going to leave myself like 2 seconds here right now in case there's even more that opens up after we're done recording this. So Craig, here's your chance. So either that was one awkward silent pause there, or I put something in. I don't know yet.
Not taking it out either.
Yeah. But so now we are. Yeah, no, of course I'm not taking that out. But we are about to put in our interview that we did with Vincent about being at CityWalk on the opening day. So we are going to go ahead and cut to that now, and we hope you enjoy. As I told you at the start of the show, we are having a very special guest join us now to have a conversation about the experience of going to CityWalk now that it is reopened as part of the first steps to opening back up Universal Orlando Resort. And that very special guest is someone that we've mentioned on this show before, urged you to go and watch his videos, and I still urge you to do that after you're done watching or listening to this, of course. But for the time being, you can at least get to know him this way, and that is my dear friend Vincent from Vincent Vision. So Vision, I said that very strangely. Vision, but
it's okay. I kind of like it.
I'm glad you do like it. But hey, Vincent, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. This is awesome. I listen to you guys like all the time, so this is really, really cool. So thank you guys so much for having me on.
I mean, it feels weird anytime you say you watch us, and I mean, how long did we actually know each other? I want to say it was like maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and you were still coming up to me like I couldn't remember you from the first time we met and saying how much of a big fan you were.
Well, hey, you know, I mean it. I gotta keep the love going. But yeah, it was cool. We had this relationship where we would just like kind of bump into each other from at like different major theme park events and stuff like that. It was like Galaxy's Edge, and then like, oh my gosh, do you remember Chicken Guy?
Oh.
Where we were at?
Of course, I remember.
Guy, and I needed help filming something. I was a chicken guy. I needed help filming the chicken dance by the logo, and Craig helped me out with that. So that's cool. I got a professional videographer to help me out with one of my videos one time.
Let's semi-professional. Let's not fancy it up, but no, I'm always happy to help anytime I see you. It's always fun seeing you out and about. So before we ask you about your experience, do you want to just like tell people who you are, what you do, and such?
You know, I think I'm going to leave it a mystery. No, I know. My name is Vincent. I do theme park based videos on YouTube, channel called Vincent Vision. I go out, have some fun. I go to Disneyland, Disney World, check out things in Orlando, and it's a good time. I think you guys will really like it. I try to keep it fun, try to keep it light, try to keep it entertaining, try to keep it funny. Trying to make some good TV on YouTube, So hope you guys like it.
Yeah, you are very abnormal in your approach, and I mean that in the best way.
Okay.
Okay, abnormal. All right.
Abby normal.
I mean that in the best way because you're not afraid to do something that just makes you look extremely crazy. And that is a very bold thing that not a lot of people, well, there are a lot of people out there who will do it. I will not do it in a theme park. At least I don't try to. Every now and then when my belly pops out of my shirt, that's like kind of me pushing the edge with that. But you definitely do not hold back from crazy and zany stuff. Like I love that still when you go to the homepage of your channel that it's you on your Hagrid's video wearing the beard and everything. You look insane.
I appreciate that. Hey, it's that's just show business, guys. No, but it's nice. Theme parks are a safe place. They're a safe environment to express yourself and express your excitement and your love for the things you have. So I think jumping around and dancing around, that's one of the purest, highest forms of being excited. And I just happen to be excited about theme parks. So it works out.
I love it. So before we get started on this, one more question in terms of all that. We're going to obviously have a link in our show notes and in the description here to your channel so everyone can go and check out your videos. But if you had to choose one video on your channel that best exemplifies you, what do you think it would be?
Oh, man. Well, my dog just gave you guys the answer.
Yeah, right.
Really big fan. No, I am really, really fond of my Star Wars videos. Galaxy's Edge is probably my favorite theme park land anywhere ever, and I think 2019 was awesome because of Galaxy's Edge. So honestly, if you go to the Star Wars, I have a little playlist dedicated to just Star Wars videos. A lot of
He's like,
he doesn't like that. Yeah, exactly, Kent. Yeah, I would definitely recommend the Star Wars videos.
Fair.
I actually do also. I love his profile photo is him with the lightsaber, and you have the Han Solo jacket on, and I was like, okay, I'm a fan of this.
Yeah. It's obvious was the coolest thing ever. The battery in my lightsaber is dead now, so I can't like swing it around. Which this quarantine would have been the perfect time to swing your lightsaber around and play with it, but unfortunately it's just kind of sitting there. But yeah, and I went on that day, gosh, it was Florida, and wearing that jacket, you got to suffer for fashion for those cool pictures, but it was worth it. I think. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty gritty. Why we brought you on this to begin with, and not that we wouldn't, because you're just a pleasant, delightful person anyways, but you ventured out to Universal CityWalk on the first day that it reopened, and you made an excellent vlog kind of showcasing your entire experience there. So we're going to urge people to head over to your channel and watch that as well too, so they get the first hand impression of it. But for everyone else who just wants a little taste of it right now, can you kind of walk us through what the experience was like going to CityWalk with the new measures that were put in place?
Yeah, so I decided that I wanted to go to CityWalk on the grand reopening, the first day that they started letting people back in, because I thought it would be a really, really big deal. I thought it was a big deal in the theme park world. And they kind of announced it a couple days beforehand, and I got everything. You needed a mask. They were going to check your temperature. So I went in with that. I got there at about 3:30. I kind of worked out because I was on the other end of the street. They actually there's like a good amount of cars already waiting at like 3:30 on the bridge from Endless Summer. And I was like, oh my goodness. But I came from the opposite end, and I got right in, waited there. It starts, all the social distancing stuff starts from like right when you park, and you're getting into the security checkpoint. They had all that there, and There was a pretty good amount of people, like first for that initial rush, but they had us wait there until about 4 o'clock, and then they started checking people's temperatures.
Yeah, and I mean, I at least saw like the photos and videos that were coming out of it, your stuff as well too. It's non-invasive completely when they're taking temperatures. Did you see anyone who seemed like they were putting up a fight about having the temperatures being taken?
No, actually, it wasn't. It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was that bad. Like everyone had masks on. I had never. It sounds silly, but I'd never had like my temperature checked that way before. So I was like a little nervous. I was like, oh, what if this is how I find out that I'm not good to be here? You know, like. But it was quick. It was painless, and people were going in and out. And it's security team members who were doing it. And they were taking their gloves off. They all had their own little tables. They would kind of send you to the available spots. And I thought it was quick and painless. I did hear from team members at the front that they actually were turning people away who had a higher temperature than I believe it's 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah. So anything higher than that is a no-go, and they would turn you away. And apparently they were turning people away. And then I heard there may have been like certain like escalations and stuff like that. But I didn't see it with the first wave of people coming in.
My hope is the people they turned away then were like, maybe it's time to make a doctor's appointment. Like, get it checked out pretty quick, you know? Because who's here just being like, 100 is just enough where you might be like, I feel a little weird today. But you're not, it's Florida. It's always 110 degrees outside. So it's hard to gauge that sometimes. But I don't know.
Now, my question, something I didn't see in all of this, maybe I just wasn't paying attention well enough. What were they doing as far as security after the temperature check? Were they doing metal detectors, or is that just not happening right now?
They were. So I would say once you got past the temperature check, it was pretty much like normal. Okay. You got to the hub and you went in and you put your bags away and stuff like that. The hub, all the red cement, they got a fresh coat of paint. So you're like, ooh, it's all fresh and new. But yeah, I think really once you got past that, apart from different markers on the ground staying 6 feet apart, it was pretty normal. Bag check-in felt pretty normal, and there was a lot less people there. So it was quicker too.
Were people generally like keeping space when they were going through the bag check area?
Yes, I would say so. I think a lot of people were like getting acclimated to it. I'll admit, I like every so often I would be like, oh, I'm back at the theme park. My autopilot kicks in.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like trying to push through and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Can't do that anymore. It's not a thing. So yeah, I would say in general, all the crowds, everyone did a really good job at like trying to keep apart and keep their distance. Everyone kind of realized that that's the rules of the game right now if you wanted to be at CityWalk,
Mm-hmm.
And I know because of your vlog that you were able to actually sit down at Margaritaville and have some drinks. I know that it ended up being a very, very long line for a lot of people. But how do you feel that they were handling that process? Do you feel like the tables were spaced out outside far enough? Was it good?
Yeah, so it was great. So I got to sit outside by the Hemisphere Dancer plane, and all the tables were spread apart, enough so that once you were seated with your party and your travel group, you were able to take your mask off. Everyone at the tables had their masks off because they were spread apart. And I'll admit, I joined a friend. That's how I was able to get a table at Margaritaville, because yeah, you're right. It was like 2.5 hours, which is crazy. Margaritaville, I was very happy to be there, but it's not exactly in my top 5 as places that I would go on a normal CityWalk day. But it was open, and I got to join a table, and everyone had their masks off. And I don't know if it was something that they were telling them that they could do once they're seated, but yeah, the tables were spread apart. I wish I could have seen inside, like the dining area. I know there was a guy playing music. I heard that, so that was lovely to hear some live music again.
Yeah.
Did you go inside the merchandise shop and check out the masks and Universal hand sanitizer?
I did, and I got so excited to see Universal branded hand sanitizer that I bought 2 bottles, and I was like, "Wow!" It was $3, so it wasn't bad. And then they had the camo and the pink, the 2 genders, pink camo for face masks. Yeah. So they had those there, so you could buy some if you lose yours or you need a new one. They had those available for people, but I don't think that they had anything outside of going back to temperature checks, like outside of temperature checks. So I don't think they offered. I know there was some in the hub, but that was you had to get your temperature check before you got to the hub.
So that's what I was going to ask, because if you're supposed to have the mask on before you get to that point, did they have anything set up to sell them, where they're doing temperature checks or passing them out? But you just answered the passing them out part of it, because so you have to have it before you leave your car then, or they didn't think that through all the way about having somebody put it on before.
And I'm sure it could change. I'm sure they'll realize, hey, we can sell these masks. But I think if you don't pass the temperature check, it's you don't need the mask. You don't even just get out of here.
Yeah. Beat it.
So do you think, just from your opinion of you were there for a couple hours, do you think that you saw most people there solely intent on showing up to actually to eat or shop, or do you think it was more people just kind of walking around and taking it all in, like a day at the park that just happens to be CityWalk, kind of a park?
I would say it was a good mix of both. They had almost this ceremony for people who came in. They had a drum line playing on that CityWalk bridge when you first come in. So there was a lot of people there when it first opened up, and there was a lot of people walking around. I was really, really happy to find out that they kept the bridges to the parks open, so you could at least go up to the lighthouse. You can go up to the arches and be like, "Oh, the arches! It's you!" But nothing else on that side was open. They didn't even have the music playing, which was, I hope they fix that, because I wanted to hear some Islands of Adventure music. But Margaritaville was the only sit down restaurant. Voodoo Donuts was open. I didn't get any Voodoo Donuts, but they had a mobile order that apparently was 30 minutes. To get Voodoo Donuts without the mobile order was about an hour. So people were getting stuff, and I think that'll obviously won't be as crazy once more things open up there. Yeah. But I would say people realized they were there, and they're like, you know what, we're here, let's celebrate with some donuts.
Well, I saw a photo of the donuts, and I was like, that's probably what I would have gone for, was the donuts.
Absolutely. I should have, but I got a seat at Margaritaville, so I was happy to sit there.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that too.
Yeah, exactly.
So one of the things I said on, I think, our Walt Disney World show this past week was I had a little meltdown and went off saying, after Disney Springs opens up, after my experiences I've had in Publix lately and Walmart and other stores, knowing that masks are being enforced and temperature checks, it's actually, to me, it feels like it would be safer to be at these places that are having these stricter enforcements. Is that kind of the impression that you got from it, that right now theme parks are actually a safe haven? Not theme parks per se, since they're not open yet, but a CityWalk, would you consider that a safe haven right now, safer than a lot of grocery stores and such?
Honestly, I would say so. It felt so much safer. Just the fact that everyone was wearing a mask, that you had to get your temperature checked, and that there wasn't that much open. The fact that there wasn't so much to do, that people weren't kind of just hanging around. There were people hanging around, but they also did a really good job with crowd control, because at 4:00 when it first opened up, it was as busy as I saw it, and it just went down until I left at about 7:00. It was nothing. There were people there obviously, but it was just so much easier. So it felt nice. It felt nice having that sort of filter of the force masks and the temperature check, because once you got past that, everything else pretty much just felt normal, and you were like, oh, right, I'm back. So yeah.
Did you see people How did the enforcement of wearing the masks go? Did you see a lot of people who were like trying to take it off once they came in, or they were walking around? Were there people set up in areas to be like, hey, excuse me, you have to wear that mask everywhere you go?
There's definitely a lot of like extra Universal team members, and I think it was just a lot of like management types as business casual and stuff. But I saw pretty much everyone wearing their masks.
That's good.
The whole time. I think CityWalk still has smoking areas, and I think there were people taking their masks off to smoke in the corners and things like that, wherever the smoking areas are. But I didn't see anyone like, all right, I'm in, and like take it off, you know? So I think everyone is playing along, and they're playing by the rules pretty well.
That's good.
I didn't even think about smoking areas and all of this and that aspect of it, but especially because, you know, Universal, they're still all over the place, but at Walt Disney World, like knowing that the smoking areas at the theme parks are out front, off to the side, away, it's just something that didn't even really dawn on me anymore, because I feel like I don't see smoking in parks quite as much as I did before. But
you definitely don't.
Yeah, so people were, I mean, they were, but it was, even then, it wasn't like, there was just like not that many people later in the day that you wouldn't even, it's just little pockets of people all spread out with their friends and family, just hanging out and just like standing by the water and looking at the globe.
Okay, Ryno, do you have any final questions about what Citywalk was like?
No, I will say, like, talking with you, Vincent, it did make me feel a little better once we came to that kind of realization that it's more secured in terms of like social distancing protocols at Citywalk than it is at like a Target or a Publix or anything. And I think that kind of didn't really occur to me, that is, if they're going to have these like enforcements and these people doing this, and also, you know, it's a wider open space. I guess you put me at ease a little bit more.
Hey.
And it is still one of those things, you know, time will tell, I guess, too. Yeah. So,
and I would say like they had those 6 feet markers everywhere. There were still performers that had face masks on. You know, the people who are 6 feet up in the air still had face masks, and they even had like markers by them. And I was looking on the ground, I'm like, is that like to meet the still walkers? They have these like 6 feet apart markers. I couldn't even, but it was all over the place, and it definitely made it feel like if I follow the rules, I will be safe. You know?
Yeah.
Well, I have one more question not pertaining to this for you, and that is, when the theme parks do open back up, which one are you going to first between USF or IOA, and what's the first attraction that you're going on?
Oh, that's rough. I love me some Islands of Adventure. It's got to be Islands of Adventure. I think my first ride, it's got to be the Hulk. I haven't been shot out of a cannon in 2 months now, you know, so I'm probably going the Hulk and fly out there and see what happens, you know, get that feeling again.
I respect that. I said, for me, I said, when we talked about this, I said Hagrid's for me. I'm ready to get back on that attraction again. It's been far too long, and so I respect your opinion.
Thank you.
But okay, so again, I want to recommend, you know, we just kind of went over the information here of what it was like, but you can see the entire experience that Vincent had over on his channel, Vincent Vision. Watch that video to get the entire grip of that situation. But before you go, Vincent, thank you for being here. Do you have any place else that people can follow you on social media, such?
Yeah, you can. I've got an Instagram and a Twitter. You can follow me on there. Both of the names are the same. It's Vincent Vision 4D, like Shrek 4D. In fact, the name of my YouTube channel, Vincent Vision, came from Ogre Vision, which is the title from Shrek. So that you guys would want to know that.
That's funny.
Thank you. Check it out, guys. Vincent Vision 4D on Twitter and Instagram, and then Vincent Vision on YouTube. So thank you guys so much for having me on. This is awesome. This is great. This is like a little bucket list moment for me here.
Oh,
I'll mark that off right now.
No, thank you, Vincent, and we will have you on again, and we'll see you in the parks, and hopefully we'll collaborate soon. So, Ryno, now that we have heard from Vincent about the procedures, we saw what was out there on social media and such, Do you think you'll be going to CityWalk anytime soon?
Probably not, because it's like, it's kind of like what you said. It's one of those things where not until there's this draw where it's like, what do I really want to go there for? You know, it is kind of tempting for the donuts or like, you know, to have a socialization. What I do enjoy about our conversation is how we kind of broke it down and realizing that I think I'd actually feel more comfortable at CityWalk than Springs as of right now, just because of, like we talked about, the shape of CityWalk, being able to like see across and see everywhere that you are, so you can kind of get a gauge on where there are hordes of people, you know, which ideally there won't be, but that sort of thing, that kind of it quells some of my fear a little bit. I don't think that's the right word, but it's fine. But it you know, that eases me a bit, but it's like, it's kind of what you said. It's like, what do I need from there right now? You know, is it worth the risk? You know, because there's kind of the element of risk for everything. But I'm going to say that after this conversation, I'd feel more comfortable going there than like a store or a place that isn't requiring people to wear face masks. Like, I think that's a big part of it, about requiring people to have them, and then the enforcement of it as well. It makes me feel more comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows? By the time this is out there in the world, I might have already gone. So I didn't think I was going to feel antsy about it, but it really is just like, I want those donuts. That's the main thing. I
know. There's that one picture of the donuts, and it's like that Pavlov's bell, where like the bell has been rung, and I am drooling right now because all I can think about is that donut. I'm like,
yeah,
deliver, Voodoo, deliver.
That would be nice. And that's the thing. Like, I guess one of the things I've always kind of dismissed in the conversations and such leading up to the reopening is that I am fortunate enough that I live in a neighborhood where I can walk around for miles without really being able to social distance, and then also not having to worry about like wildlife, about dangerous areas and such. So I feel like I've kind of been dismissing that there are people who are living in more metro areas that aren't able to do that. And so the CityWalk opening up, while I think that the people who are going there should be like actually spending money there, whether it's on food or beverages or shopping, if they're going to go there, they should be giving back. One of the things I didn't really take into consideration is, you know, some people do need a safe place to walk around and get exercise and enjoy
somewhere to
themselves.
stretch your legs.
Yeah, so now I think I'm slowly peeling that back too. It's just, I literally didn't think about it before, and I feel like maybe I was a little harsh, but it's something that people need too. There's, with gyms not being open, if there is an outdoor area in a safe area where you can still distance, then
gyms will be open by the time this episode is airing, I believe, or close there. I just read an article right before we started recording that I believe gyms will be opening tomorrow, as of, if you're watching this on the Sunday it comes out. I believe they start opening on Monday, and I was like, definitely not going there. Somewhere where people are literally sweating poison out of them. No, thank you.
See, that's where it's hilarious that we missed information. I knew that the restaurant indoor capacity was opening up to 50%. You missed that part, but I missed the gym part of it. So,
but I have a question for you, because I don't know the answer, or if this has even been addressed yet. Now that CityWalk's open, I mean, you and I have paid our annual passes in full. But what does that mean for our annual passes? Is it not until the actual theme parks open? Because this is different than Disney. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do we still get free parking if we go? Even though the annual pass is technically not active because the parks aren't active? I forgot to ask Vincent that question.
Oh, did you say like right now during this period with the parking?
Yeah.
You know what? I just realized this was really bad on us. I said that we were going to talk about all the information about what was opening up and stuff at the beginning. I missed out on like half of the information.
Yeah.
So Wow. Okay. Well, I'm not cutting it in before. We're going to just do it now. So I hope people sat through 30 minutes to get to the important information here. And that is that part of this is right now, CityWalk does not have a parking charge. So anyone can show up and their self-parking is completely free. And with that, too, there is not currently valet service. So only self-parking. And it is currently free. So as of right now, that could change at any given time. If they decide that, they need to start making that money, then it could start being added.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So any person can come out and just walk around, and it'll cost you nothing, except for your life, maybe. But I don't mean to be morbid, but I mean, there's a certain element of a risk, but that is interesting to me. Yeah.
I mean, it's even beyond that. Like the CityWalk's open from 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock right now. So with old CityWalk rules, unless it's like a Halloween Horror Nights night, after 6 o'clock is free parking anyways. So it's really,
good point. Yeah.
You're really only getting 2 hours of free parking in terms of if you don't have an annual pass or anything. But yeah, right now it's just anyone who wants to come, free parking the entire time from 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock p.m. And some of the stuff Vincent did talk about, they are mandatory requiring face masks. So you have to have not necessarily a mask, but you do have to have a face covering, whether you have a full mask, whether you have the mask that covers the important areas, your nose and mouth, whether you have one of those weird things that looks like you're putting a tube sock over your neck and like a neck warmer. Anything that is a face covering is something that you have to have. You have to pass a mandatory temperature check. It cannot be above 100.4 degrees or you will be turned away. And that's how they are handling that. We already heard from Vincent how they're handling the metal detectors and stuff, so we don't need to go into that. And that wasn't part of the rules and regulations that Universal released anyway, so not a big deal on there. But continuing on with the restrictions and such, so they're asking, of course, people to socially distance, maintain that 6 feet apart or 2 meters, depending on which system you decide to use. Ryno likes to use the metric system, so
I like to make it difficult. Yeah.
Wash your hands often. Make sure you're washing for 20 seconds as often as possible. Universal is going to be cleaning bathrooms as much as possible too, as well as every surface around. That is part of their goal, is to keep everything as clean as possible. So they are like constantly trying to be thoroughly cleaning. And then, like Vincent mentioned, if there's floor markings in a specific area, whether it's like the retail area or any of the places where you're getting your food and such, you have to adhere to those floor markings, so that way you are maintaining that proper distance. And that's it for right now. Again, as different phases happen with Florida reopening and such, we already know that the indoor restaurants procedures went up, so we don't know when the next time they'll jump up. We don't know when everything will start getting more lax.
Because I think there was like an assumption, at least on my part, I don't know about you, but that every phase would be a minimum of 2 weeks, because I thought the whole idea was we had to see. I guess that's foolish of me too, because we're not actually testing anybody. So I guess that I was thinking it would be 2 week increments, because then you had to see how is the infection rate, proceeding. Is it drastically spiking? Is it just leveling? What is it? But then I guess if we're not testing it anyways, then what does it matter? Right? Not to be like super morbid and whatever about it. So it just makes me think now I don't know. It's one of those two things. I am very happy for the things that Universal has chosen to put in place when they have decided to open what they've opened. You know what I mean? It's like what you already said, the temperature checks, the masks and all that stuff. I hate the idea that we said it gives you that false sense of security the temperature check does. So, still, but enforcing the masks and the social distancing guidelines is crucial, I think, for everyone's safety. And it's good that Universal does that. So I think that's good,
It's a good step. And I'll just say, it's just as a thing, it's open, it's available to you if you choose to go. Mm-hmm. And I think the only thing to really say beyond that is that that we hope that there's no incidents. I don't expect us to hear about any incidents from any of it, but I think they are taking it super seriously, so we don't have to necessarily worry about it. And if it is a thing where you say, hey, maybe I do go and there's still a chance that something could happen, maybe just think about outside of that trip to Universal. Maybe don't go over to grandma's house now. Don't say just because I went there and I went to the grocery store now I should start seeing as many people as I want all the
exactly.
time. Take it a couple steps at a time, and it's a good.
It's hard. It's hard because once you take that first step, you're like, oh well, I'm out. I might as well. You know, I had that dentist appointment the other day, and I was like, well, this is the first time I've left. Like maybe I should do this or that, and then I was like, no, because now I've been exposed to this many people, and if I go there, it's this many people that now have quadrupled. So you gotta. It's like. Take it, don't let the floodgates open. Just take your time and enjoy what you can, But and it's hard. It's like when somebody gives you, a whole bag of candy and they're like, make it last for a week, and you're like, joke's on you. It's not going to last for an hour. You have to make the candy last.
Yep. Take those steps. Don't take leaps. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. So thank you, Ryno, for being here.
Oh yes, thank you.
Yeah, and thanks again to Vincent for joining us to help with that coverage of being inside Universal CityWalk on that reopening day. And thank you to everyone out there for taking the time to listen and watch this. Of course, if you need any extra information, you can always head over to disunplug.com, home of our show notes page for this show and all the others on the Diz Unplugged podcast network. You can find links to our social media channels and more. Ryno, what are your social media places that people can get in touch with you at?
Twitter, Instagram, it's all the same. It's RYNO1185. Those are the ones I use the most. I really don't use Facebook, so get away from me on there. Don't even send the request. I don't respond. I don't use it. I think it's been like 2 years since I used it at all.
Yeah, I have my personal page that I do not accept requests for anymore, just because I'm trying to slowly get rid of that completely. There is a fan page on Facebook that you can follow along with me, but I never update it. But if you want updates from me on Twitter and Instagram, I am at Teleclashter. So, and of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you are subscribed and you're hitting that bell button so you get notified when we have new videos. And then, of course, leave us fun comments and questions down below, and we will read them, we'll answer them, and we will enjoy them. And of course, hit that thumbs up button. And if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or Google Play, if you can subscribe to us, please do so. And if you can leave us ratings and reviews, please do that as well, too. So thank you, everyone, once again, for listening and watching. Thank you, Ryno. Thank you, Vincent. And thank you to me, I guess, too. Why not? I deserve a pat on the back every now and then.
Give it to yourself.
Give it to myself. Okay, that's going to do it for this week's episode. We'll see you again next week with another episode of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. But until then, remember, we still have not changed the name.